Hi there, my name is Amy Schramm. I'm the Senior Community Relations Specialist with the Better Business Bureau, and I just wanted to leave you with 5 tips to help you best protect yourself from falling victim to identity theft. The first tip is to really make sure that you're monitoring your accounts. It is so important now more than ever that we're really looking at every transaction, whether it's a bank statement or a credit card bill. These scammers nowadays are not making big purchases that are likely to be noticed by us if we're just glancing at our statements or bills. So what they'll do is they will scam people out of $1, $2, maybe $15, and then when they realize that it's working, they will move on to a larger sum. But it's much more lucrative for these scammers to scam 5,000 people out of $1 each than one person out of $5,000. So really make sure that you're monitoring your accounts, and if you notice a discrepancy, no matter how small, contact your credit card company or your bank immediately. The sooner that you act on it, the easier it is to rectify the situation. Falling in line with that is really making sure that we're using our credit card versus our debit card as often as possible. Our information can be taken fairly easily regardless of the type of card that it is that we're using, whether it's a credit or a debit card. But if a scammer gets a hold of our debit card information and they use it, the money is immediately extracted from our account, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It doesn't mean that we can't get that money back, but it's about 2 to 3 months to get the ball rolling, fill out paperwork, and if it's your debit card and it's your checking account, the money is immediately extracted and you're without that money for the 3 months that you're filling out the paperwork, as opposed to the credit card where you might notice it, contact your credit card company, and you're never without that money. So it's so important to make sure that we're using our credit card versus our debit card as often as possible, if not always. Some of the main places that I recommend using the credit card are gas stations, grocery stores, restaurants, and just be aware of ATM machines when you have to take out cash or whatever it might be. The closer you get to the bank itself, the better off you are, because the further away you get, the less likely it is that it's monitored and monitored frequently. So if you can get up to the teller station, that's fantastic. If you have to use the machine that's within the bank, on the outside of the bank, certainly use that, but we would recommend using it during banking hours because it's less likely that someone would be able to implant a skimming device on that particular machine. Shredding our documents is another fantastic tip. It's so important that we're shredding every piece of information that we have that has even our basic information, our name, our address. If you have catalogs that come in, you don't have to shred the whole catalog by any means. Rip off the label, take out the inserts of where you can purchase products, shred that. Credit card offers that come in, insurance offers that come in, anything that has even just your basic information. And that's just mail. That doesn't even include necessarily anything that you might have that has any piece of information. We know our social security number is the most important piece of information that we can protect. And so we want to make sure that that is being protected. The problem is we cannot predict who's going to go through our trash, and there are still dumpster divers that are out there, but we can control what they'll find. And that's why shredding is so important. If you can, try to invest in a shredder that isn't just the spaghetti shredder. Unfortunately, those are easily manipulated in the sense that the pieces can be taped together very, very, very simply and quickly. So a cross shredder is preferred, or a micro shredder would be even better. And a lot of towns will do shredding days. There are some stores that you can visit that will shred. You might have to pay. I took 16 pounds of paper to a store not long ago, and it cost me like $4.25 to shred it. It was worth it. So if you want to Google Shredfest shredding day and the name of your town and your state, I would guarantee that there'd be something that would pop up, whether your town hall will put it on or your local senior center, a local bank or something. It's really, really important, if you can't invest in your own shredder, to at least find a shredding day. One of the next steps, believe it or not, is being careful of what you put in your mailbox. There are still scammers that go out there and they will go through your box. And if you, let's say, are paying a Visa bill and you have, or your credit card bill, whatever it might be, and you're paying by check, you now have on that bill and on that statement your account information, your name, and your address. And now if you're paying by check, you now have your bank account information on there, your routing number, your signature, and your name and address if you still have it on your check. And what happens is you go to your mailbox and you plop it in, and then you put the red flag up, a literal red flag that stands for a lot more. And you're alerting people that there's something important in your mailbox that you want the mailman to pick up, but you don't want a scammer to pick it up. We really recommend just taking a little bit of time out of your day or out of your week and going to the post office and dropping in the post office box. It is much, much safer. And if you're someone who doesn't write checks the old school way and put it through the mailbox, and you're someone who does online banking or really anything online, be very, very aware that if you're going to do online banking, make online purchases, anything via the internet where you would have to input personal information, make sure that you are on a secure Wi-Fi connection and then secure websites after that. But the first step is making sure that you're using your home private Wi-Fi. It's not that there are organizations or locations out there that aren't fantastic or reputable. It's just that they might have a public Wi-Fi, maybe your library, your local senior center, a local coffee shop might have public Wi-Fi. But if you're on it, then somebody else could be on it, and you just can't be sure who is and who's smart enough, because these computer hackers are very, very smart. We use that term loosely, but they're very smart, and you don't know who might be in there on the same Wi-Fi trying to get a hold of your personal information. So make sure that you're on a secure Wi-Fi system in your home, private, and no one else can get access to it. And be very aware that some of the biggest scams going on right now are via email and over the phone, and they're impersonation scams. And we mention these because the phone scams are very annoying. Our phones are ringing off of the hook, and who really wants to hear your phone ring and have it not be someone that you want to speak to? But it's tricky because the calls that are coming in are not the type of scams that used to be coming in. They're not saying that you won $20,000, you won a free cruise, you won a free vacation. They are now calling and they're impersonating legitimate businesses. They're impersonating your bank, your credit card company, your phone provider. The IRS is a huge scam right now. They're impersonating Medicare. So be very aware that we cannot be certain that the person on the other end is who they say they are unless we have initiated the phone call. And much like the phone scams, the email scams work very, very, very similarly, but they're more dangerous. They're dangerous because we don't know if we've clicked on something that we shouldn't have. So the emails will look like they're coming from legitimate businesses: Verizon, Comcast, Bank of America, Better Business Bureau, UPS, especially during times of around the holidays. There are scammers who impersonate legitimate businesses, and they will send emails. Be very, very, very aware that the links embedded within the emails or the pop-ups that come up that might look like they're from Microsoft saying that you have a virus on your computer are not actually legitimate. Be very cautious, and if it's going to take us just, stepping away from the computer and finding the phone number for the particular business that looks like we're receiving an email from or a phone call from, call them directly and say, did you just email me? Did you just call me? And then try to rectify the situation that way. But more often than not, these phone calls and these emails are not coming from legitimate establishments. They're coming from scammers. So these are just some of the tips. If you want to find out more, you can visit bbb.org.